Good morning, I'm Mark Goler, Deputy Incident Commander for Mike Gocachia's Northern Rockies Incident Management Team. I'd like to go over a little bit about our incident and where we were historically and where we're going with this particular fire. Early in July, the team was assigned this incident and we started off with 9 separate fires and added 2 along the way. As we moved into later in the month of July, we transitioned to a Type 3 incident management team as the complexity had gone down. And we are now at 1 fire that we're managing, the Thorne Creek fire, which we have on the map behind me. And I'd like to go over some of the particulars about what we're doing and where we're going with this so that everybody have a clear understanding of what our tactics are, what our strategy is for control of this particular incident. Our objectives for this incident are spelled out in our incident action plan, and our strategy for control has been indirect. And so we have, because of the positioning of the fire, the terrain that it started burning in, it's very dangerous to put firefighters at risk. Going up on the hill, very difficult to work and build any types of control line. So we've taken an indirect strategy and using the change in terrain to be able to get into some more favorable ground that the firefighters will be able to work. Where the fire started was very inhospitable, it's steep, it's rocky, very dangerous to work direct control. So we've moved down into the favorable terrain, lower elevation, a change in fuels as well. We've established control lines, and at that point, after we got the control lines established, we were able to put in hose lays, water handling supplies that will be utilized if necessary to help keep the fire within those control lines. One of the other tactics that we frequently use is using fire to fight fire. And in this particular case, we're using both aerial ignition and hand ignition. And we have brought the fire down slope. We fired and brought it down the slope slowly, methodically, in order to maintain control on the fire's intensity. That's very important so that we have control of it as it approaches the values at risk, and that being the city of Thompson Falls, the Thompson Falls watershed, there's timber supplies, there's numerous values at risk that we have identified in our incident action plan and through our delegation of authority from the Ludlow National Forest. And so as we go, we've done aerial ignition and hand firing as we've moved from north to south, coming along just outside of Thompson Falls, and currently we've made it to the Weber Gulch trailhead. The fire, we stopped it last night and it's down to the control line along this entire front. We did have a few spots yesterday from the east winds that occurred, but we were able to catch those. Now, in the subsequent days, as we move forward, we'll continue to monitor fire activity, judging what the weather's going to do to us and what effect it'll have on the fire itself. And so as we go, we're going to continue to bring fire slowly, gulch by gulch, from creek to creek, ridge to ridge, slowly across this face all the way to the Copper King fire scar. In that manner, we'll avoid any situations where the fire may actually pick up in intensity from winds that may hit either from outflow from thunderstorms, from an unusual wind from the east, in particular anything that may cause the fire to run down slope. And so we're bringing fire along here. We're going to rob the fire fuel as it approaches our control line. And as we tie it into the Copper King fire scar, which could be in 8 to 10 days, depending on the weather, if everything works for us, then we'll be able to start securing those control lines, mopping up, and hopefully be able to transition this back down to a lower complexity fire. Now, as this work continues between the current footprint in Weber Gulch all the way over to the Copper King fire scar, we are continuing to work contingency lines back farther to the east, and we're using masticators, working on shaded fuel breaks, and using existing roads to serve as those contingency lines, so that in the event that the fire does try to move farther to the east, we'll have lines in place that we'll be able to utilize also to stop the fire spread moving east. The guys are working very hard and very diligent to maintain the fire in its current footprint and within those control lines. We're utilizing aircraft for aerial observation. We're using heavy air tankers, helicopters with buckets, engines, water tenders to provide water to those engines and to those hose lays, and then boots on the ground to mop up and patrol for spots. So overall, the effort is going well. It's going according to plan. And again, I'd like to emphasize that it is a slow, methodical process. We don't want to move too fast, because that in itself can cause an awful lot of problems that we want to really try to avoid. And so again, we meet the fire on our terms, not it coming to us. Hopefully that will give you an idea of where we are and where we're going with this particular incident. Thank you.